Let's begin with our question and answer session. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. First question is from Baja California. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning. This is actually from the Dominican Republic. Due to the fact that today we have universities that are both public and private corporations and foundations, how can we find a way to have corporations fund human resource programs for universities?
Well, actually, the key to any proposal, and I will talk more about this in the next segment, the next module, the key is not whether it's private or public, not whether it's education or health, but that it is a compelling need. That is, something that people who are in a position to fund will look at and say, if we invest our money in this, and the key word here is investment, because I think it's important for people who are asking for money to remember that you're not just looking for somebody to give you money. You really need to be in a position to tell them that they're going to be getting something back for it. Not that they will receive funds as they would if they owned stock in a corporation, but that they will be doing something good for society. So my answer in the short form is, have a proposal, have a topic, be alert to a situation that is so compelling that people will want to give to it. Inevitably, under those circumstances, there will be somebody, maybe not the first entity you approach, maybe not the second, but there will be somebody who will see the value of it.
Thank you. Actually, our previous question was from the Dominican Republic, so I stand corrected on that. Our next question is from Hidalgo. Go ahead, please.
What elements should we consider to be able to justify our projects?
Once again, I'll go into this even in greater detail in the second module that you'll be hearing today. The key element, and because they're key, it's okay to mention them now. You have to have the first thing is that funders like to feel that they are investing in a project that is going to make something bad into something good. So if you have a situation that is a crisis or a trend that is negative, what you want to be able to say is, here is a problem, and I'm now going to propose a way to make it better. You also have to have something that appears doable. Too often, people may talk to a colleague, and the two of them may come up with an idea, and they think that it is the best thing that anybody would want to give money to. And yet it really is not doable. It really has to be something that somebody's going to look at and say, but of course, that's a solution that makes sense. In addition, it has to make financial sense. You have to have a relationship between the idea and the project. Sometimes, to give you an example, I read a proposal, a brief proposal. Somebody said to me that they wanted to create a foundation to bring about world peace. And I said, that's terrific, but why you and how? We've been trying for thousands of years. All of us want to bring about world peace, but how are you going to do it? You have a magic pill? Nobody's going to believe that. And the final thing is that you really also have to be willing to be held accountable. Very often people think that funders should give money simply because you have a good cause. You want to help find a cure for a disease. You want to end a social problem. But people, once they get the money, don't realize that they really have to report back and say, look, we accomplished this. And you have to be honest enough to say, we accomplished this, but we didn't accomplish this, and the reason we didn't accomplish all of it is because of a reasonable explanation, in which case you can say, please give us more money, we're on the right track.
All right, thank you. And for our next question, we go to Panama. Go ahead, please.
Buenos días. Good morning and greetings from Panama, from the Universidad Tecnológica. Our question is regarding financial aspects. We usually know, for example, in English, you have these terms in terms of fundraising, but then we have certain aspects that we have to take into consideration for financing in our countries as well. What language do you propose we use when fundraising?
First of all, I'd like to say I'm glad to hear from Panama, as I was to hear from the Dominican Republic and from others. There's only one word or phrase that applies to fundraising. Fundraising is universal. It's I have a need. Now there are all kinds of ways to fund certain projects. The kind of funding that you want to be looking for is funding that has as few strings attached to it. You're really trying to get people to invest their resources in a project that they foresee will have a good benefit. There may be different tax laws, there may be different restrictions in one country or another, but remember, there are, as I pointed out in this first module, there are resources all over the world. The Foundation Center in New York City, the individual fundraising vehicles that I mentioned that are available specifically in Mexico or throughout Central and South America, those organizations are transnational. They can point you also to local resources. I think everybody who is sophisticated at a certain level in government, in for-profit corporations, in nonprofits, understands that there is an attitude of giving back, that those who are successful, those who have had access to resources, give things back.
Let's now move again to your important messages on the topic of this program.